Are you in perimenopause or menopause feeling the hormonal shifts and that belly fat that creeped out of nowhere? And no matter what you try, it's sticking on to you. Or maybe you're even postmenopausal and the old fat loss strategies are definitely not working. Today I'm gonna be talking about exactly how you're gonna need to train to tone up and lose that belly fat over 40 and work with your hormones instead of against them. Just like we did for Laura, toning up her arms and losing over 30 pounds in her late 50s. And Angela lost over 70 pounds while toning up her thighs while we're only working out 3 times per week. So why do we even want muscle in menopause? Well, it's a game changer. So you might want that lean, defined, flat stomach look, but besides that, muscle increases your metabolic output, meaning you can just burn more calories just by living. It's gonna help with insulin sensitivity, which means your body won't take in the food that you're eating and store it as fat. Instead, it's gonna go more to your muscles. It's gonna reduce the risk of falls, fractures, and add years onto your life. I promise you, none of our ladies look like bodybuilders after working with us. And I know most of you are sick of losing maybe 10, 20 pounds, but you always gain it back when you go through a busy or a stressful season. So having muscle is going to be your fix. Now let's go over the nutrition that you need over 40 now. You're gonna need 0.7 to 1 grams per pound of your goal body weight with the protein every single day. So example, if you're 150 pounds, you're gonna need around 120 to 150 grams of protein per day. If you're eating around 3 to 4 meals, that's around 30 grams of protein every single meal. This will keep your blood sugar more stable throughout the day and give you more energy and reduce those late night cravings. And it does matter where that protein's coming from. I would say 80% of the protein that you're having is coming from natural sources, so like chicken, beef, eggs, yogurt. And then the 20% could come from like protein powders, protein bars. I have 2 scoops of protein powder every single day with my smoothie. There's nothing wrong with it. And my tip here, don't increase your protein really high right away. So let's just say you're only needing like 50 grams of protein per day. Don't just go to 120 or 150 grams of protein right away. You're gonna bump that up by maybe 20 grams. So let's say you go to 70 grams for week 1 and then 90 grams for the next week. That way you're gonna be able to digest that protein and make sure you pair that protein with a lot of water and fiber, of course. And then carbs are gonna be essential for building lean muscle now. We don't wanna cut them down or cut them out. We actually wanna increase them because the muscle protein breakdown signal is stronger for ladies over 40 with the hormonal shifts. So we wanna keep our carbs as high as we possibly can, around 40 to 50% of your calories that you're intaking coming from carbs. I would though try to avoid a lot of carbs in the morning because your body can process carbs better midday and evening. Typically, we're looking at 100 grams of carbs plus per day, depending on where your body is at, but never under. So for breakfast, I would try and keep your carbs under around 30 to 40 grams and save most of the carbs for that lunchtime meal or that supper meal, or ideally around your workout if possible. In perimenopause or menopause, insulin sensitivity is lower for women typically in the morning. That means carbs at breakfast, especially processed carbs like muffins or pancakes, are gonna spike your blood sugar higher and also cause it to drop quicker, leading you to have fatigue midday or cravings at night or in the midday. And then make sure when you're having your carbs, you always try and eat your protein or fiber first off your plate and then have those carbs. And we're not talking about just like eating any type of carbs here. You want things like sweet potatoes, quinoa, any sort of fruit, or vegetables, whole grain breads is fine. But on the flip side of that, you would actually want something that's quick digesting for pre-workout. So having like a rice cake with some honey that you can digest before a workout very fast can give you that energy, or even just a Rice Krispie can do. Ideally, that pre-workout meal has like 100 to 300 calories worth. You wanna stay away from really high fat foods like peanut butter or having a lot of fiber, so having like an oatmeal meal right before a workout. So let's head into the training portion that you're gonna need. Now for the training side, we need to do something called progressive overload and get stronger with our workouts. Cardio is not gonna shape your body. Things like Orange Theory, F45, your classes in your gym called like body pump, aren't gonna work. They may be fun, but they're not gonna build the definition in your body, especially if you're past the newbie phase or you've been lifting with weights for like a year already. So instead, we need to do something called progressive overload. So we're gonna use the same workouts for 6 to 10 weeks, but we're gonna push heavier with either the weights or the reps. For our ladies, we like to use something called the double progression method. Let's say that you have a rep range in your workout saying like 7 to 10 reps. We don't want just like something like 10 reps because that means we're not gonna push ourselves. We're just gonna stop when we hit 10 reps. So we're gonna use a rep range saying 7 to 10. And let's just say week 1, you use 30 pounds and you get 10 reps. That's a great sign that you need to now up the weight because you hit the top of the rep range, which is 10. So instead, we're gonna go to 35 pounds or 40 pounds the week after. That's gonna allow you to push yourself harder, and you're probably gonna end up somewhere in the 7 to 10 rep range, maybe like 7, 8, or 9 reps. Then when you hit the 10 reps again with that new weight, you're then gonna bump the weight up again. You might fall in the middle of the rep range. That is called the double progression method. Next, we need to do something called training close to failure. These are one of the key things that help Nancy go from this to this. Just look at those arms. So training close to failure basically means stopping 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. So when you're doing a bicep curl, most women stop 3 to 4 reps shy of failure and don't get a strong enough stimulus on their muscles. So you basically have to push until you're making a funny face. If you're not doing something right. We need the rep speed. So when you're doing your bicep curls and curling that weight, it needs to slow down significantly by that last couple reps. And the last rep should be very challenging to get up. That means you're gonna be training to failure or really close to it that you can only get maybe 1, maybe 2 more reps. And that's the place you need to be to build lean muscle. Then we're gonna talk about the rep ranges themselves. So I said 7 to 10 reps earlier in the video. Anywhere from 5 to 12 reps is where you're gonna want most of your workouts to be in. By having lower rep ranges, that's gonna force you to lift heavier. You can lift lighter weights going to that 12 to 15 rep range. You're just gonna see slower progress over the long term because you're not gonna be able to push yourself as hard and lift as heavy to build that lean muscle doing higher rep ranges. And a lot of times when you do those higher rep ranges, you're focused more on the burning sensation and not actually getting stronger. Next tip here, you wanna make sure that you're never ever doing 4 sets of an exercise. We're only gonna be doing 2 or 3 sets max for a single exercise. And then all you need is 4 to 6 exercises. It never makes sense to do more than 6 exercises in a single workout. Because after the first couple of exercises, your body gets fatigued and the latter half exercises don't get a good enough stimulus. And the cool thing is you don't even need gym access. You can do this right from home. A lot of our ladies start from working out at home. They get comfortable. They send in form checks so we can review their form checks so that they can get better. And then they transition to a gym when they have the confidence. And I always get asked, do you need to do cardio? You absolutely do not. But if you're gonna do your cardio, if it's anything more than 5 to 10 minutes, you wanna do that after your weight training session. So the cardio does not impact the strength training because you won't be able to lift as heavy in the workouts if you do a whole bunch of cardio beforehand. And if you're working out from home, you should get some adjustable dumbbells, or you can even just start with your body weight and then get a bench too if you can. And then that's all you need for home workout. Look at Stacy. Stacy was working out from home and she went from this to this in 5 months. If she could do it, so can you. All right, so let's go to the next big mistake, and that is under eating calories. You cannot build lean muscle and get toned without eating enough food. If you're absolutely drained after your workouts, you're fatigued throughout the whole day, and you're struggling to stay motivated to train, you're probably not eating enough. This is where maintenance calories can be a game changer. So you're not starving your body, you're fueling it. And when you're fueling your body, you can use stored fat as energy, and you can stay the same weight, which is maintenance calories, and build muscle and lose fat at the exact same time. So you're shifting your body composition. Muscle does not weigh more than fat, but muscle takes up less space than fat. So you will look leaner and more toned if you just swap the fat for muscle. So how do you figure out this maintenance calories? I know it's a pain in the ass, but if you wanna get results, you're probably gonna have to start tracking your calories for 7 to 14 days on something like Chronometer or MyFitnessPal. Because if you have no idea how much you're eating, you're just gonna be spinning your wheels. This is gonna look completely different for every single woman, but the first thing that I would do is look up TDEE.com on the internet. And if you put in your info, it'll tell you an estimate of how many calories that you need to be eating. I guarantee you like 90% of you are probably under eating right now. But once you get that number from TDEE.com, you're then going to eat that amount of calories for around 7 to 14 days. And then I'm gonna need you to weigh in every single day. Again, we wanna take out the emotion of this and just look at the data. I know it may be tough for you, but you need to see what's happening. So then you're gonna take every single weigh-in that you track for every single day for like that 7 to 14 days, and then you're gonna take the average, say you do it for 7 days, you're gonna divide that by 7. That number is gonna equal the amount of calories you eat on average throughout the week. If your body weight went down, Great. You're in a deficit, you're probably losing body fat. If your weight stayed the same, that might be okay because you could be building muscle, losing fat. But the key here is you're taking progress photos as well, and you should be seeing changes every second week for sure in your belly fat, your arms, if you're doing everything properly. But let's just say you wanna get movement on the scale. I would just drop those calories by like 300 to 400 from what you were eating at maintenance, and then you'll start seeing the scale move and you'll still be firming and toning up. For most of our ladies, we typically put them in like a 400 to maybe 800 calorie deficit. If you have a lot more weight to lose, like 70 pounds, you can go more on that 700 calorie deficit. If you're around like 120, 30 pounds, you only have 15, maybe 20 pounds to lose, you can go in that 400 calorie deficit range. Now we need to talk about stress, hormones, and recovery. The sex hormone estrogen is anabolic, which basically means it's muscle building. When that declines, your muscle signal weakens. And if you add in cortisol from high stress, poor sleep, and overtraining, suddenly your body fights against you in menopause. So as we touched on earlier, having carbohydrates post-workout is very important because your muscle cells typically open up after a workout, meaning you can flood the carbs into the muscles instead of fat. Those carbs are then gonna be stored and use as energy for the next workout, allowing you to recover faster in between your workouts. And it's not just after a workout too. Carbs play an essential role in allowing your body to recover. Now here's the thing that most women don't realize. You don't have to work out every single day to see amazing results. We're talking about 2 to 3 times a week. All of these ladies' transformations here, they were working out 2 to 4 times per week. Weight training creates a stimulus in the muscles that lasts up to 24 hours. Once you train a muscle group, it takes around 48 hours for that muscle to fully recover before you run it into the ground again with another workout. It's not about doing more in perimenopause or menopause, it's about doing the right amount and placing the right amount of stress on your body. Your body's already favoring muscle breakdown, so you have to get all of these things right to see great changes in your body and really lean out and tone up. All these things are insanely important, but you're gonna have to play the long game too. You didn't probably get in this situation overnight. You didn't put the 20 pounds on in a week. You didn't lose that muscle mass over just 30 days. It might've been a couple of years. So the scale might move slower. 0.5 to 1.5 pounds per week is excellent progress. But you should see changes in your body composition bi-weekly or monthly. Your thighs should tone up, that apron belly should be going away, and you can make the next 20, 30, 40 years the best years of your life or the absolute worst. So do you really just want a lower number on the scale, or do you want to look like you work out and do you want to feel strong and independent in menopause? Building muscle isn't an option when it comes to getting the desired tone look that you want. If you're ready to stop wasting time trying to figure this out on your own, you can click the link below in the description for a one-on-one coaching. We'll reach out to you to see if we're a good fit. And make sure you like and subscribe if this was helpful, because I got many more videos that are gonna help you along your journey.